Act, and the act is available for review at the back of the room. Today's agenda is available in the back. If there are documents to be discussed in this meeting, copies of those documents are also available in the back of the room. The next order of business is to record roll.
Beauty,
Yes?
Poppy,
Here.
Elworth,
Here.
Bud.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum, and the meeting will proceed. The next order of business is to vote on changes to the January 5th meeting minutes. The commission's minutes incorrectly reflected the testimony of Angelica Marsala. Similarly, the following edits have been made to accurately reflect her testimony. Correct the title of the book she cited, correct the misspelling of her first name, add additional narrative about the context for presenting the book she cited, as well as world history books. Namely, that the testifier wanted to communicate that she contended cannabis is and has been used as a form of control by different governments. Do I have a motion to approve these changes to the January 5th meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
All right, there is a motion to approve the changes and a second to the January 5th meeting minutes. Roll call.
Beauty,
Yes.
Poppy,
Yes.
Elworth,
Yes.
Sidemore.
Yes.
The motion carries and the minutes are changed. The next order of business is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the minutes?
I would note that in paragraph 1, my name is misspelled, but other than that, I'm good.
Any other discussion? So there's a motion to approve the minutes from the February 2nd meeting. Can we make the amend them into that motion? Is that all right? With the correct spelling of Commissioner Ellsworth's last name?
I would vote to amend.
Vote to amend. Okay. So can I have a motion to vote to amend the meeting
So
minutes?
moved.
And a second? Thank you. Roll call?
Beauty,
Yes.
Poppy,
Yes.
Elworth,
Yes.
Sidemore.
Yes.
Motion carries. The minutes are amended. Now can I have a vote to approve with roll call?
Beauty,
Yes.
Poppy,
Yes.
Elworth,
Yes.
Sidemore.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. Minutes are approved. The next order of business is a public comment period. The public comment period today is not a question and answer session. This will be an opportunity for the public to voice comments. Each speaker may comment only once. Offensive language, defamatory remarks, and hostile conduct will not be tolerated. Verbal outbursts or applause are not permitted in the meeting room and may be cause for you to be asked to leave. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes and should state and spell their name for the record. The public comment period will be limited to 1 hour or less if there are not sufficient speakers. Can we have a show of hands of those who intend to speak? Thank you. For those of you speaking today, is there anyone who needs to speak earlier during the public comment and is unable to stay for the entire allotted time? Thank you.
Thank you. Ready?
You can use the speaker if you'd like, the microphone.
Absolutely, thank you. Shaking a little. Is that okay? All right. My name is Leah, Liapost. I live in Springfield, Nebraska. I'm a legal medical cannabis patient in Nebraska. I'm going to try something different. I want to talk about the 10 reasons why I choose to smoke medical cannabis. First of all, the results are instantaneous. What other medicine do you know that works so quickly that isn't going to knock me completely out? And I've been on a cocktail of 15 different meds, so I know what that's like. It's the most natural way and the most natural form to take cannabis into my body. I can combine different strains of medical cannabis for different effects on my body. It's the cheapest way to use medical cannabis. It isn't a felony, but any modified form of the plant is a felony unless you have a doctor's recommendation. That's a big risk for patients to take over a simple medical gummy. I can microdose with it. I can control my intake and only take what I need to manage my pain. I also incorporate medical cannabis use with deep breathing, meditation, Tai Chi, gentle movement, guided imagery, and a whole bunch of other tools that I keep in my pain management toolbox. I could grow my own cannabis. That concept alone makes this farmer's daughter really happy because I'm an American and I should have freedom of choice of a plant over pharmaceuticals any day, any century. Because I consider medical cannabis to be a religious sacrament and it shouldn't be denied under my First Amendment rights. I can also take my cannabis flower and leaf, turn it into tea, tinctures, oil, butter, and then turn that into edibles. When I do this alchemy in the kitchen, it's almost like I have free will and freedom of choice. Please encourage Jim Pillen to pick someone competent in the field of medical cannabis. I've heard of several people that applied that have history and understanding of the industry. Please talk to Sweetwater Hemp, take them up on their offer that they made at the last meeting. If you haven't talked to them or toured their facility, it's truly a missed opportunity for knowledge. Work on all facets of a functional medical cannabis industry with no stalling. Talk to patients and caregivers. It's a little easier to have a one-on-one than to be mic'd up and, on the record. Talk to John Cartier, who is an attorney general for the Omaha tribe. Great guy, really easy to get along with and to talk to about this issue. 5 ounces, not 5 grams, no THC limit, patients not criminals. Thank you. I got it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
They're sensitive. Good afternoon. My name is Lynette Richards. That's L-A-N-E-T-T-E. Richards is R-I-C-H-A-R-D-S. And I come to you here representing Monument Prevention Coalition in Scottsbluff. So I've traveled from Scottsbluff here to speak a little bit. And I just wanted to thank the Commission for working diligently on safe rules and guidelines when it comes to medical marijuana. We do appreciate you doing that. We know that we have all seen harms of marijuana use, recreational marijuana use, and so we appreciate you so much in looking what is safe and healthy for our communities. I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this okay?
Yeah, you can use it if you'd like. If not, it's okay.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon. My name is Georgiana Schroeder Stanley. That's GeorgianaSchroederStanley. It's not hyphenated. First, I want to thank the one commission member for attending the February hearing. I meant to say thank you, but I finished speaking without doing so. The only excuse I can offer is I must have been too surprised to see a commission member here. The elections this year require fishing out where candidates stand on medical marijuana, if they haven't already been broadcasting their attitude. 2 months ago, I was recuperating from another tooth procedure done the previous week and was still unable to leave the house. I won't describe the stress and misery. I turned on the early morning channel 1011 news, and on the screen was Attorney General Hilgers. I thought, how did I manage to time this? It was a short clip from his recent interview with a news station. He stated he had not agreed with President Trump on declassification of marijuana and bluntly repeated his often assertion of marijuana having no medical benefit. I stood watching the TV with the side of my face still slightly sore and swollen, with what looked like about 1.5 inches of ugly stitches in my gum, and feeling thankful for the medical benefit of pain relief from cannabis. The war against THC and everything marijuana is very concerning to me. I can buy the products I use and what I care to try at a dispensary, but Hilgers and Pillen make their intentions clear about that too. One feels a need to keep a stockpile on hand at home. Nebraskans did not vote for medical marijuana because they all wanted to jump into a medical marijuana program. They voted for what would help them, just in case. Elected officials who obstinately refuse to implement the will of Nebraska voters need to be kicked out of office, and like-minded candidates need to be kept out. Elections find legislative candidates and their campaign workers canvassing neighborhoods. I have typically declined to talk to them, but this year I'll smile and say, why sure, I'll be glad to talk to you. What about medical marijuana? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Brett Mayo, Brettmayo, and I'm here from Sweetwater Hemp Company. I spoke last meeting, but I just kind of wanted to go in general over a few things today, so I kind of wrote it out so I can kind of stay on topic. So thank you for having me today. I wanted to encourage the community to start looking at this from a completely different perspective. We've been so zoned in on whether medical marijuana is right or wrong, but the fact is it voted, passed, and we'll be moving forward. I know you guys have been put in a ridiculously tough position. I appreciate what you've done up to this point. You're all very intelligent, well-educated people, but you have little to no background in cannabis. But you all know how to build a business, and I think that's how we need to move forward. Here are a few points from somebody who has built a brand in the cannabis space and made plenty of mistakes along the way. First of all, you need to have an in-depth background in the business, and you're about to jump into, and you need to surround yourself with the best, most knowledgeable people you can find. You have great, willing people in the state wanting to help you through this process, and do not be afraid to ask for help. Next, you need to find the best candidates for the licenses. Instead of drawing names out of a hat, you need to look for the best candidates for those licenses. The low number of licenses should allow you to do this moving forward, and pick the best businesses that are here for the right reasons. Secondly, and probably the most important factor is the products that are going to be offered. If you move forward with the product offerings, you will have a very difficult time making this successful. With no smokables, vapes, or edibles, you're eliminating almost all the products that people want and need. These products are also accessible online or a quick drive from a vast amount of the population. I've spoken with the businesses that have a license, and the potential future license holders, and not having these products available will make it very difficult to make ends meet for us to keep our businesses open. The final item I wanted to discuss was the actual licenses. The transporter's license makes absolutely no sense for anybody. I think it's definitely something you could put on the manufacturer and the extraction licenses. Anytime you split that pie a number of times, it's going to be difficult for anybody to make any money. Lastly, I just would like to encourage you to be more accessible and make this topic more of a discussion. Getting up in front of the committee and guessing what you want to hear seems like a little bit of a waste of time. I would love to be able to answer questions you have about any part that is being discussed. I give tours, and I have about every type of person walk through the doors of Sweetwater Hemp Company. The first thing I always ask is if you use cannabis or if you have any questions before we even get started. It gives me a baseline of who I'm talking to and where I need to start the tour. Most of the time we barely make it past that to the tour because I get so many questions because I get so many varying different people, education levels coming through those doors, and answering all those questions is very important because that's the job of me there, is educating people. I know you've been tasked with a difficult situation. I think if we all work together, we can make this successful for the commission, the license holders, the doctors, and most importantly, the patients
Your
of the
time's
state.
up. Please
Thank
finish
you.
your thoughts.
Good afternoon. I'll try and make this work. All right, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Michael Johnson. I haven't spoken before this body before, but I've been at many of the meetings and been listening. I'm a Nebraska resident. I live here in Lincoln, but I've been a cannabis executive for
Can
over
you
10
state your name
years.
for the record?
Yes, sorry. Michael Johnson, MICHAELJOHNSON. Thank you for the reminder. I've been a cannabis executive in Oregon and Colorado for over 10 years. That's either COO or CEO. So I'm not here as a patient. I'm not here as a user. I'm here as a businessman. And I would love for the opportunity for there to be more engagement between the business community and the commission to make sure that the rules and regulations that are being put forth are going to be both economically viable and also just lead to a functional system. I'm not here to make dramatic changes, but I am here to advocate for a sensible, workable system. Currently, I'm a part of the management team of one of the licensees that you've given a license to. So I'm part of the KRL Med LLC management team. My concern, based on the current rules and how things are going, is that there are some significant threats to this being a workable program. I'm not trying to advocate for a loose or permissive program. I do want one that protects patient safety and a robust supply chain that's well controlled. But there's a lot of poison pills that are currently built into the rules and regulations that are going to make this potentially a non-viable program. And I don't believe that's what you all want. I assume that there's been a lot of good intention put forth. The challenge is this is a complicated matter. These governance and the rules are very difficult. And so I want to offer my support and my advice in any way I can, which is hard to do in 3 minutes. I have robust assessments. I have policy assessments. I have economic assessments, some of which have been forwarded to you all via email on behalf of Kent Rogert, the licensee for KRL Med. But I just want to caution that as things are currently written, there's some vital issues. A couple of them that I'm going to touch on quickly is that there's a testing bottleneck that's looming. Right now you have ISO certification for a testing lab to work in this state. There's a chicken or the egg challenge. A lot of the testing labs are going to need 6 to 12 months to be able to attain said certification. And yet we as licensees can't bring product into the supply chain without having the product tested. And so what we're risking right now is a complete breakdown in the supply chain unless there's some grace period that's built into that. Second, I've suggested this previously, but I'm really going to advocate for an advisory committee that's made up of business leaders, healthcare practitioners that have no authority, but that are here to help you interpret the rules so you understand the implications of the rules that you're putting forth. This advisory committee is very common in other states,
Please finish your thoughts.
and I think could be very helpful going forward. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, is there anything else you wanted to add before the finisher?
Yeah, thank you. I think that there are some issues I see around, right now there's a specific written order that's being mandated from a healthcare provider standpoint. What that means is, as the rules are written, you're asking a healthcare provider to name for the patient the specific product down to the SKU that the patient is going to use. While that makes sense because that's more of a pharma model, i.e. the doctor says, I want this specific drug, and the pharmacist fills it. The challenge is that that's something that will work maybe years into the system, but you can imagine on day one, the first day that the store opens, there's no way for the physician to understand what products are even on the shelf on day one. So again, you have a chicken or the egg challenge here, where the physician is trying to recommend medicine, but there's no way for them to know what products are even on the shelf. And as new products come about, the physicians are not going to be in the loop on that. In pretty much every other medical marijuana market in the United States, it's more of a general recommendation. So the healthcare provider recommends that the patient use medical marijuana, but the specific product, that's more of a trial and error aspect, that the patient is trying to find something that'll work, yes, in conjunction with their healthcare provider, but not in such a specific recommendation as what's outlined in the rules. And the challenge is that that is not a workable, functional rule as it's currently written. You're going to have patients showing up on day one and their physicians are not going to know what to recommend. And so I point that out along with the ISO certification requirement, just as I think these are rules that could make it so that on day one, this whole thing is locked up. The farmers and the manufacturers can't get their product tested. The physicians don't know what products to recommend, therefore the patients can't purchase products and the retailers have no revenue, and this whole system doesn't work. We as licensees from top to bottom in the supply chain are going to go out of business if these things don't get fixed, and I don't believe that's what any of you want. I think you can understand that an economically viable system is required for this whole thing to work. And so I'm just going to really urge more collaboration between the commission and licensees and the commission and other experts to make sure that while the rules are well-intentioned, that they're actually functional. You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Krista Eggers, Kristaeggers. And today I want to take a moment to talk about a legislative bill, LB 933, that deals with providing basic protections to healthcare practitioners who would be recommending medical cannabis to their patients. And I know I was informed earlier today that the Commission will not be taking steps to support this legislation, but I'm really respectfully urging you to use your time, possibly in an executive session later today, to discuss it. These protections are given in every single medical cannabis state. They are absolutely vital. Every state in the nation includes provisions that protect practitioners from losing their license or facing criminal prosecution simply for recommending cannabis or even discussing it with their patients. It is absolutely vital for these protections to be in place for this program to begin. It does not allow recklessness or wrongdoing. Practitioners would still be required to follow the same standards of care they do with any medication and remain fully accountable for their actions. It simply ensures doctors cannot be punished for recommending cannabis or discussing it. This directly impacts the program that you guys are tasked with building. The Commission has discussed creating a registry. My fear is that without these protections that LB 933 provide, that registry will likely remain empty. If there are no practitioners, there will be no recommendations. If there are no recommendations, there will be no patients. Therefore, this program can never get started. It should be noted that the legislature is the only one that can provide these protections. This is outside of the authority, unfortunately, of this Commission. And before I close, I just want to share a story. Late this last week, I received a phone call from someone who I'd never met, don't know how they found me. They were suffering from a horrific disease. I'm sorry, my allergies are horrible, everybody. And they were in such pain. completely hopeless. They were hopeless for their life and for their suffering, but they're also hopeless because they don't know if they will ever see the day that medical cannabis is an option for them. Before I got off the phone, they let me know they were planning to end their life, but not before begging me to help them. They asked me what they should do or they should go for help, and the truth is I can't help them. I don't know. I made a wellness call to the local authorities, and several days later it was confirmed that they had died by what appears to be a self-inflicted cocktail of opioids, most likely that were all legally prescribed to them. For years I've carried stories like this. To feel as if you are bearing the suffering of people across this state is a burden that I would never wish on anyone. But today, as members of this commission, who are charged and tasked with building Nebraska's medical cannabis program, I believe you now share in that responsibility. With that responsibility comes a duty to ensure that this program can actually function. And I believe right now that means making sure the legislature can enact the pieces that are outside of the authority of this commission, but are absolutely necessary for this program to exist. I say this to point out that delays matter. They carry a real cost, and for some Nebraskans, that cost is measured in their suffering, but for some, it's measured in their actual lives. Thank you for your time.
I'm sorry that you had to, go through that. Sorry for everyone's pain and suffering. I want to make a note here that 988 is the National Suicide.
I'm so sorry. 933. I apologize. LB 930.
No, 988 is the National
okay.
Suicide
Oh,
Hotline,
yes.
and it's you can call if you're a concerned other, if you have a concern about anyone, if you're in crisis yourself. I just want to make that known that it's 988. It's free, confidential services. They will send law enforcement. They will send trained counselors to meet with people. So I just want that on the record that that's what anyone can do is call 988.
Hi, Ms. Eggers, may I ask a question? Relating to 933, is there a similar protection for medical practitioners in the statutes right now if they're prescribing something else? I want to try to compare apples to apples. Does that currently exist in Nebraska?
Yeah, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a legislator, I'm just speaking from my understanding of things. But yes, under the Controlled Substances Act, there are protections for doctors that recommend or that prescribe, that choose treatment options or recommend treatment options to patients. Now, those same protections that are in 933, which is the handout I gave everybody, that does not allow for recklessness or for not, properly assessing a patient, not knowing what type of medications they're on. It is truly for the actual act that is done in good standard practice. And these protections in that handout that I gave you, I mentioned that every state in the nation has these protections in place. It is just an absolute vital piece. And I cited all the statutes from each of those states in there. If you'd like any more information or a hyperlink so you can actually click and see all of those statutes, I'd be happy to send that to you. The 933 was drafted using the best legislation, the most conservative legislation that is in the nation, and I believe it actually is more cumbersome and covers more than most do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Afternoon. Troy Burgess, Troy Burgess. Today actually feels like we're making progress. I mean, there's professional people here speaking on behalf of the industry, and it seems like people are paying attention. So to me, how do we keep building on this? You've heard people, there's concerns from the industry about what we're proposing or trying to set up that will make this industry fail or flop. And there's things that we need to ensure protection of patients and delivery of medicine to the patients themselves. And then making sure we protect the doctors and their right to prescribe medicine. So to me is, how do we keep doing this that we're doing here today? Can we have like an off-site public meeting where we can do questions, comments? I've spoke with the legislator many times where they can ask questions. And I think if we can get that dialogue going back and forth between us professionals and the committee, we can build a program that's long-lasting and continues to grow and develop as we bring this to the people of Nebraska. I still feel like we're probably a year out, if not longer, the way we're writing these proposals and rules before we ever get something to our patients. And again, we just heard people need this, and we need to do it efficiently and safely, but we need to make sure we get something to them sooner than later. So to me, if you guys ever have questions, reach out to us. We've been in this industry a long time. We know what we're doing, and anybody in this industry that is here for the right reasons would be glad to help. So thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Gentlemen online? Okay, very good.
Good afternoon. My name is Angelica Marsalia, Angelica Marsalia. I'd like to thank you all for correcting the minutes for January 5th meeting. I did want to state that the website does not have the minutes for the February 26th meeting. I was not able to attend. I wanted to reiterate what many have already stated, including Leah Post at the beginning of this meeting, that there are many patients that would benefit and need more modalities of cannabis rather than just a tincture or an edible. I have quite a few diseases or illnesses, endometriosis being one of them. March is Endometriosis Awareness Month. I am in the middle of illness right now, that's why I'm not there in person. I have procedures coming up at the end of this month. And I also have migraines on top of this, and it's very difficult sometimes to manage my migraines. My symptoms are stemmed from triggers that I can't control, like outside sources, weather, hormones. And having cannabis in the smoke form is the only way to stop them immediately, other than pharmaceuticals, which I take to help right now because I cannot access medical cannabis. And even with those pharmaceuticals, it is touch and go. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And I am a mother of 4, and I would like to have a life and be able to care for my children daily without having to worry if I can get up out of bed or if I can take care of myself, let alone my children and my household. I fight a lot of things in this state right now on my own with zero help, and it's becoming more of a burden every day. I am saddened to hear that somebody else has just taken their life because they cannot access this medication, because I know that feeling. And I appreciate you guys sharing 988 as an option, but we are not asking for support in that way. We're asking for actual change. It feels like we are in a cycle where we continue to ask the same thing over and over, just to be breadcrumbed along the way. It's not fair to Nebraskans, and it's not fair to children at most. We're expected to give children pharmaceutical medications that are FDA approved. When the FDA puts, like Dominic says that he gives Will black box medications, I understand that as well. I've taken black box medications and refused to take them because of such terrible side effects. To choose to give children a pharmaceutical grade medication such as Klonopin, Xanax, anti-seizure medications, antidepressants, as if those are safe and effective, is so wrong. They're not safe. And just because the FDA says it's safe, does not mean it's safe. The FDA approves a lot of medications without trial. They do it under the guise of it's been tested. There are many three-letter agencies that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, including, and I will mention this,
Your time is up.
FBI.
Please finish your
I
thoughts.
mentioned earlier in my previous comments that they would rather protect patients from this plant than they do children predators. And with the release of the Epstein files, that is evident. Thank you for your time.
No one else wishing to speak? Okay. Right. That concludes our public comment period. Next on the agenda, we have to have this up here, sorry. Next on the agenda is to discuss the executive director job posting for the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission, or NMCC. During the March 3rd public meeting of the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission, approval was granted to begin the hiring process for this position. The executive director will be responsible for implementing and overseeing Nebraska's Medical Cannabis Commission and will provide executive leadership and operational management for the commission. The executive director will operate under the direction of the Medical Cannabis Commissioners and will oversee the agency's day-to-day operations while serving as the principal advisor to the commission on regulatory policy, program implementation, legislative matters, and overall operations. At this time, the commission will also need to discuss and vote on if any of the commissioners will assist DAS shared services with the hiring process of this position. Is there any discussion on who will be involved in the hiring process?
I'll assist.
That's what you're asking.
Okay.
At least someone should be from this group. If I draw the short straw, I'd be happy to be the one.
I already said I'd do it.
Yeah. To the judge.
Well, it probably could be both of you. I don't think you
Sure.
need to fight over having one person.
We need to take formal action and put that on there.
Yeah,
They have to resolve themselves.
I think that we do, as our next order of business where we'll talk about why. Okay. So yes, so do I have a motion to approve Judge Coffey and Commissioner Elwood to be part of the hiring process with DAS?
So moved.
All right, and a second, very good. Roll call, please.
Ewing,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Elwood,
Yes.
Sidemore.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries.
Can I ask you a question for a second before we go to the next one?
On the agenda, it says approval of the executive director job posting. Do we have a copy of that yet, or, okay, so that will be done at a future meeting, is that correct? Okay, thank you.
Okay. The next order of business is to discuss temporary staff support for the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission through the Department of Administrative Services, State Operations Services, DAS, SOS. During the March 3rd public meeting of the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission, approval was granted to utilize DAS, SOS temporary staff to support the NMCC. The Liquor Control Commission will begin working with the Department of Administrative Services to hire 2 temporary positions that will serve as the first staff dedicated solely to supporting the Medical Cannabis Commission. These temporary roles will have the potential to transition into permanent positions. The 2 positions that will be posted soon are a program officer and the administrative specialist. So while we don't have the executive director job posting just yet, and we're looking at having to kind of support positions be hired first. Anybody have any comments or thoughts on that? I just want to say that, that LCC has been really integral. They kind of got thrown into this role of being our support services, and they help set up meetings and do all these things. And so I want to take a minute to just thank them for the work that they've done on behalf of the commission. But in the honor of transparency, I guess, not having our own dedicated staff has been difficult. And so this, I guess, is a first step for us as a commission and MCC to have our own dedicated staff that will help us carry out all the things that we desire to do and make this program viable. So I think, again, being transparent, we're going through a lot of growing pains ourselves, and not having any staff has been part of that problem. So hopefully this will help us get on the right track with that.
My comments are pretty much the same, and I want to be on record too for thanking the liquor control staff for taking on the extra duties to assist this commission in meeting our responsibilities. We know it's been a burden on them, and the lack of a staff dedicated solely to the work of this commission has been one of several hurdles this commission has faced in creating and implementing the process for dispensing cannabis. Hopeful that moving forward, the hiring of dedicated cannabis staff, we can now get the process accelerated. And again, thank you for the Liquor Control Commission staff. I think it's important to place that in the record.
I just want to point out that the reason this is now occurring is that we are going to be funded, and the delays have not been intentional by the commission, but more or less a practical hurdle we had to get over, which appears that there might be a light at the end of the tunnel. So,
Fingers crossed. All right. The next order of business is discussion of the NMCC logo. A copy of the proposed logo can be found in the back of the room. During the January 5th meeting, the creation of a standalone website was approved. As work on the website moves forward, a logo will be needed for the site. Do I have a motion?
Where is it at?
Where's our logo?
It should be in there. That's the blue one.
Let's hold it up.
Oh, that's it. Here.
All right, any discussion? Or maybe you make a motion first.
Second. We have a motion already?
No, I need a motion. Okay, and a second?
second.
Any discussion on the proposed logo?
Judge, you seconded, I moved. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, discussion. Any discussion on the logo? We're good. Okay, roll call, please.
Reading,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Elward,
Yes.
Simers.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next order of business is to discuss the cultivator license applications. During the February 2nd meeting, the commission denied the following application, Blue Ember Ventures LLC. There is no request for reconsideration for their application, so the commission will move forward with application number 10. Let's take up Dustin Krajewski on behalf of Meadowlark Medicinals LLC application. Is there a motion and a second for the commission to approve the scores submitted by the commissioners who graded the application, and based on the final score being above 70, to offer licensure to the applicant?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Coffey and a second from Commissioner Elworth. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Reading,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Elward,
Yes.
Simers.
Yes.
Since the commission, motion carries, sorry. Since the commission voted to approve one application, an offer letter will be sent to this applicant. All applicants that receive an offer letter have 5 business days to accept the offer letter. The offer letter will be dated March 16th. The cultivator application process will be concluded on receipt of the offer letter, as only 4 cultivator licenses are permitted under the current emergency regulations. An update will be provided at the next meeting. The next order of business is discussion and approval of the license renewal process. On October 8th, 2025, the Commission issued 2 cultivator licenses. Under the current emergency regulations, those licenses expire 6 months from the date of issuance, since no fee is required to maintain the license. The emergency regulations require that the licensees submit their license renewal applications 30 days